Hello and welcome to the Salesforce Supermums Day in the Life webinar. My name's Abigail. I'm Sales and Marketing and Partnerships Manager for Salesforce Supermums. I also did the Supermums course myself. So you've got two Supermums online with you today because we also are joined by Permjit. Hi Permjit, say hi to everyone.
Hi, hello everyone.
Hi, great, thanks. Good test that we can hear you and see you. Thanks for taking a bit of time out of the middle of your day today to join us on this webinar. We find that for people thinking about doing our courses, it's really helpful for them to get an insight from people who have been there and done that. And you have, so we're going to have a chat to you today about your experience. So if you want to start us off by telling me work back from there, how you ended up in that role. So start off with, what are you doing these days? What is your Salesforce role?
Okay, so I'm working for a non-profit called Visionary. They're a partner organisation of the Thomas Pocklington Trust, and I'm their Salesforce administrator stroke consultant. And we're currently, the platform was actually built by someone who works for the Thomas Pocklington Trust. I think at the beginning, economic change will build. So at the moment, we're in the middle of planning for a conference, which is built out on their platform at the moment. And so there's a lot of work on there and a lot of work with form assembly, setting up forms, setting up the Salesforce connectors. So it's
how long have you been with them?
So I've been with them since I started at the beginning of May.
Okay, great.
And I'm on a 6-month contract. I work 3 days a week at home, so which is really handy and useful because I have a family as well. I have another job, if you like.
Yeah. So do you want to tell us a bit about that, if you don't mind? What's your other job, managing your family? How many kids have you got?
So I have 3 children. They're all teenagers. We've got a busy family life. So I do 3 days of working with Visionary. I spend the other day looking at Salesforce type of things, trailheads, and just trying to keep up to date with the Salesforce world. And then, and then I need 1 day in a week just to catch up with everything else that needs to be.
Family.
To run a household, to run a family, if you like, to support my children and my husband. So
yeah, and a lot of Supermums are thinking about joining the course or entering the Salesforce world because they're looking for more of that flexibility. And flexibility means different things for different people. For some, it means working full-time but from home. For others, it means working part-time hours or working different hours. How's it working for you so far? How are you finding managing flexible working, and how are you finding working from home? Is it everything you expected it to be?
Actually, at first, I was not enjoying working from home. It's quite isolated. It can be quite isolating. But now I've started to go into the hub a little bit more, so you get a bit of balance and to meet other people and that social interaction. So it's I now begin to enjoy it now, because when I'm working at home, I stick to my fixed hours, but occasionally I'll do a little bit of work later on at night to prepare for my next working day. So I'm actually now really enjoying the flexibility and the home working. It's it's given me the opportunity to should I say this, when I take a break, unfortunately I do go off and do chores, but it just keeps me ahead of keeps everything ticking over, basically. So I am really enjoying having the balance of both and the flexibility, but it was very hard.
That's great. And so as an admin, working on the admin side of things, being a consultant, what's your typical day like? So I think when people are thinking about switching careers, this could be quite a new thing for some people. What does that mean you do day to day?
Yeah, sure. So as I said, we're in the middle of planning for a conference which is taking place in November. So at the moment, we're monitoring all the bookings that are coming in. The first thing I do is go into my emails and I check if all the bookings have gone through. There are no Salesforce error reports, and if there are, try to resolve those. and just check that everything is as it should be, make sure the dashboards are working as they should. And then generally I'm just dealing with inquiries. I am the super user in the organisation for retrieving reports for the rest of the team or information, and just making sure that the team have got all the information that they need for their work that day in relation to the conference. So sorry.
I was going to say, a lot of people come to this from different backgrounds. They've had different professional backgrounds. And I think it's important to talk about transferable skills as well, because I always try to encourage mums coming to this to think of it an additional skill rather than a complete change of direction, because quite often things you've learned in the past can be really useful going forward. So it sounds like you're doing a lot of communicating with other people there, having to understand other people's needs. Would you say that that's really come into it? Are there any other skills that are important in this role?
Oh yes, definitely. And I suppose when I did the course, I was really upskilling into the technical skills. But you're also, no, I'm not a new graduate. I bring more to the table. So you are using, I was a scientist, a forensic scientist beforehand. So every day I use my investigative skills, that the ability to be able to communicate technical information to people who are maybe not so technical, and looking for solutions, for people. So I am actually that meticulous attention to detail, the communication, whether it's verbally or in written. I'm using all of those skills that I've developed over time. So and one of the reasons why I actually did the course, because I had been prior to the course, I had been job hunting, I had been applying for jobs, and because I didn't come from a commercial background, I came from a civil service background, a science background, I was finding it difficult to put across, or actually for the recruiters to be able to understand how my transferable skills could be applied to the post that I was applying for, which were mainly in kind of, systems, information systems kind of roles. So I kind of knew I needed to prove myself, and the way I was going to do that was by doing upskilling and doing a Salesforce, a tech-based course. And at that time, a couple of years ago, there was nothing like this, because I've been monitoring the sort of returners programs. And then about last January, I kind of Googled returners program in tech, and up came Salesforce Supermums, and it was everything I've been kind of looking for. So
let's just track back a little bit to your to where you were at that point, and because although you worked in forensic science, you've taken a bit of a career break, is that right?
Yes. So, and I went to raise 3 children and to support my husband in his business ventures. And I'd done sort of little jobs around, I say little, I'd done jobs that weren't real career choices, but sort of fitted around the family circumstances. But they just weren't challenging enough. I couldn't see a career in any of them, and a lot of them were short-term contracts. So I knew I wanted the challenge of a progressive career. I wanted to get back on a career path, and Salesforce offered that, as you know, with all the different certifications, all the learning, and there's different routes that you could take. It was all, when I first discovered, it was all very exciting that there were all these different routes that you could take and you could develop on.
Yeah, and I think that's an important point. I was actually chatting to someone the other day who put it very eloquently, and I don't think I'm going to be able to put it as eloquently as them, but when you join Salesforce, it's all there when you're ready. So you can have a great career, I think. For those of you who are listening who are new to Salesforce, the admin cert is kind of the entry level, so the administrative certificate that Permjit took and that I did the course on as well. Is entry-level Salesforce, and you can have a great career with that admin cert, doing lots of varied things like Permjit is doing, or you could go and work for a big company as part of their administrator team. And there's really great flexible working roles available in that. But when you feel ready, and if you're really ambitious and want to move up, it's there for the taking. And the sky really is the limit in terms of certification and where you can go with it.
Yes, exactly, and it's all in the powers in all, in your learning basically, and you have so much resources and support available to you as a whole globe. And I think also that's what's also attracted me to Salesforce, that when I was looking into it, looking at my research, that there was all these, everybody was so willing to help and to support with no judgment, didn't matter what backgrounds you'd come from. And you know, there were all these trailblazer community. You could ask all sorts of questions, so whether they were technical, related to your career, and everybody was just so willing to help. It was, you know, it was like joining a family. We're there, ready and willing to help.
Yeah, that is a really nice thing about Salesforce. So for those of you listening who are a little newer to Salesforce, there is something called the Trailblazer community, which is kind of the community of all the people that are working with Salesforce. So they're not people who are just working for Salesforce, but they work in businesses that use Salesforce. So admins, developers, architects, solutions consultants, data analysts. And there's lots of different groups that are run by different people in the community that organise meetups and online chatter groups where you can always go and ask for help and support with different things. I'm a member of a few things like non-profits using Salesforce in London, so people who are using similar functionalities, you can support each other. I'm also a member of the London Women in Tech one, so it's focused on...
First one I went to.
Yeah, it's kind of the most obvious bit if that's where you are. But there's lots of geographically, regionally based ones as well. So if you're not in London, it's not that they're all in London. It just happens that we happen to be in London, so they're the ones we're members of. So being part of Salesforce Supermums helps kind of give you that stepping stone into that community. Because we're a great community of mums, and that's really what we want to do. Yes, we're an online remote training course, but we really want to try and make you feel part of the community of mums. And then when you kind of go off into the working world, we continue that, but also you're welcomed into the Salesforce ecosystem, as it's called, and that's all these communities and support networks that are out there for you, which are really nice and provide that supportive learning environment. So Permjit, to come back to you, what were you kind of back to when you were thinking about signing up for the course? Kind of, what were some of your concerns or worries about taking the leap into something in tech, and how did Supermums, I mean, you went for it, and how did Supermums answer those for you?
Okay, oh yeah, first thing was first, like, can I do this? I'm not, you know, I've not worked in tech before, and I think that was soon answered because I logged in before I even joined the Salesforce Supermums. I logged into Trailheads and did a few Trailheads, and I thought, oh, I can do this. This is not so bad, and I like this learning platform. You know, you get badges, you get confetti thrown at you when you have something, when you get a badge. And I really liked that learning platform, and I could see there was so much to learn and so many different directions you could go. And it wasn't just technical skills; there were business skills in there, and more there's trails are more up to date areas like blockchain and AI. So it was that was the first thing, is can I do this? And secondly, I suppose it was, am I going to get a job at the end of it? Is this going to be, am I going to get my return on investment? It is a lot of money. And I thought, actually, it is time for me. I feel I've got the transferable skills to go back into the workplace, but I've got to prove it. And this was, I also knew that I could do Salesforce. A lot of it I could do for free. There are plenty of courses out there on Udemy, on LinkedIn, but what Salesforce Supermums offered was the project experience that I knew it was part of the package, and I was not going to get anywhere else. So you know, because if I'd done everything on my own, I would have had to go out and find my own project experience to prove that I could actually apply the knowledge that I've learned.
Yeah, there are plenty of Salesforce roles out there, but this is one of the things, that experience element that a lot of employers do ask for, and I think that is the kind of unique selling point of the Supermums program. We built the program that way for that specific reason, in that it helps employers be sure that you have got the skills, because you'll have that reference from the organisation that you work with and the consultant who worked with you on it, but also confidence building for you, right? To know that, hey, I can do this. I've given it a go in a safe environment.
Yes, absolutely. And to bring yourself into the world that we're in now, you know, 21st sort of data-driven tech workplaces that there are, and yeah, and that, you know, I can transition, I can pass an exam, I can still learn, and I can still apply the knowledge. Absolutely huge confidence boost. And so all of those were, I said I did do my research before I did the course, and any of those little niggles were soon, within that sort of first couple of weeks, were just washed away. And yes, the financial commitment was, I did have to think quite hard about that. But I can assure you now, it was definitely worth it, and you soon get that money back in your first month's salary. So it was a big thing for me at the time.
Yeah, this is something that people often ask about, and of course it's great, and we all want to learn Salesforce, it's really fun, but we need it because we need a job. And yeah, I would say for me that was one of the key issues as well, that return on investment, like you say. And we do have our recruitment team ready to help people at the end of the course get into a role. How did you feel going into that kind of recruitment process? What were your kind of feelings?
I was so straight after the course. I touched base at the time. It was Deborah Carlisle who was running the recruitment. So just to let her know that I would be looking for a job after I wanted to pass my exam first. And while I was sort of, I did take a little bit of break after my course. It was last summer, so August I took a break. And then in the meantime, I let Deborah know that I was looking at the types of roles I was looking for and the type of flexibility. And in the meantime, I started to update my CV, created my LinkedIn. I did have a LinkedIn profile, but it was pretty dormant. I didn't have much in it at all. So updated that. So I could now, at that point, being able to put that I was being in the Salesforce Supermums and everything I'd learnt. And then I started to concentrate on my exam. And I suppose it was after I passed the exams, things really started to change, more connections on LinkedIn. I started to build my network on LinkedIn, tried to find who the keys to Salesforce people to connect with and in the community groups. I think I may have also at that time attend, and you find that out by going to some of these events, actually, the Trailblazer community events. It's in the UK, especially in London, it's not a huge community, so everybody seems to know each other. You soon get to know who the major influencers are, who are the people that you need to talk to, who you can ask for advice. And then after I passed my exam, I was in Delhi Con pretty much 2 or 3 times a week. I was talking to Deborah, who was getting all the interviews, first interviews, second interviews, getting my CV out there. But I was also contacting my own other recruiters as well, and just getting a general feel of where I fitted in the Salesforce marketplace, if you like.
I think there are a couple of things to touch on there actually that I'd like to expand on. So one, you were talking about, you've mentioned quite a few times there, things like social and LinkedIn and influencers. And I think for people coming into the Salesforce community, that's a big thing to think about. Like if you don't already have a LinkedIn profile, then make one. And we do talk within the course actually. So the course itself, obviously we make sure you're confident in all the skills you need to be able to pass your admin cert exam. But we have also introduced, and this may be new since you did the course actually, Permjit, there's some project management kind of modules as well, but also some employability stuff where we give you some tips on what it's like to go for a Salesforce interview, the types of jobs that are out there, and also this thing about increasing your presence online, particularly with regards to things like LinkedIn and Twitter, which are quite big in the Salesforce community. I know that when I linked my Trailhead to my LinkedIn, almost overnight, I got about 5 recruiters send me private messages about, are you looking for a role? Because there's so many different roles out there. So that is a huge part of it, isn't it?
And even if you're not at the stage of looking for a job, it's just to get a general feel of what goes on in the Salesforce recruitment. I think, from my experience, is that there's phases of when they're looking and when they're not looking, and you kind of get to know who the recruiters are. It's actually quite a small community in that sense once you start talking to people.
And now I think, yeah, because you were talking to Deborah, but now we've got recruitment. Deborah is still a fantastic ambassador for us, but She's gone off to work in Salesforce for another company. And we've got Victoria, who's in our recruitment service
so
side
Victoria
of things.
actually got me my current position.
Ah, okay, there you go. Yeah, perfect. So we've got them ready and waiting. So yeah, the return on investment is there. There's definitely plenty of jobs in Salesforce, as I say, in the administrator side of things, but also if you want to continue to learn and increase your certifications, the jobs are there for the taking, because there's lots of different opportunities in Salesforce with some really great salaries, and because they're in demand, you can talk about these things like flexible working, and especially as a recruitment, the recruitment side of the business, that is what we specialize in. People who come to us to recruit from us know what we are. We're about working mums, we're about flexible working, so they are very much open to that. So you don't, we do a lot of those conversations around that, so you don't have to have that awkward conversation about can I work flexibly. That is what we're about, and that's what our recruitment team are about as well, because I know some people feel that that's quite challenging to find those flexible roles, but they are around in Salesforce thanks to the technology. So I just want to touch on the course structure a little bit for people who are listening, because we talked about the Trailhead. So Trailhead is Salesforce's learning platform and something we use, and yeah, I think it's great as well. And it's silly, but it's true how motivating all those little badges are and the little celebrations. It breaks it down into really easily manageable chunks. And then we've got Vicky, our head of training, who manages the webinars, which are once a week. And then you have your homework tasks each week. And we have, since you did the course, Permjit, we've introduced a mentorship program as well. So now each person on the course will be assigned an official mentor that you can arrange to meet and communicate with over the week if anyone has any troubles with their homework. Or as well, it goes back to this idea of linking into the ecosystem. So having that stepping stone and finding out who different people are. So I know we have some people who are mentors for our program who are what we call MVPs. And they're people who really know what they're doing in the Salesforce system and have a big presence in the community. And their Salesforce have recognized them as MVPs because they help and contribute to the Salesforce community. So I know you didn't have a mentor at the time, officially through Supermums, but you did kind of find your own pathway kind of with people in the community.
Yeah, I just tried to talk to as many people as I could, obviously starting with the immediate Salesforce Supermums community and the economic change team. And then initially, I suppose, after the course, it would have been Deborah. I was consulting and talking to quite a lot. My project supervisor, Alison, I kept in touch with. And so before I was maybe going for an interview, just touch base with her. Particularly if it was something kind of technical, if I was going to get asked, various technical, if I was going to be asked various technical questions. Also, I think, I don't know if they're still doing them on the course where you get the guest speakers coming as Salesforce supporters. So Cyril Lambert, Christine Marshall, that are all Salesforce Supermums. So I reached out to them at various points as well when I wanted advice, or I didn't know, I needed guidance, advice or guidance. I would reach out to them after their presentation and first connect with them on LinkedIn and then say, is it possible to have a chat, and to, and they were so willing to share their journeys and their knowledge and their advice. So
great.
I sought out my own mentorship and guidance. Really.
Yeah. And I think because we knew that kind of thing was useful is why we introduced the mentorship program. We've had a great response, and it's just a sign of how willing people are in the Salesforce community to help, just how many we have and how many great people we have signed up to do that. I just want to touch on the fact you've mentioned economic change a couple of times, and some people might not be familiar with our link with economic change. So economic change are a silver Salesforce partner, and they specialize in consulting and helping charities implement Salesforce and use Salesforce effectively. And they're the people we work with for the work experience element of our program. And it was actually Economic Change's MD Heather who founded the Supermums program, because she knew that there were lots of mums who could take advantage. She was a working mum herself and managed to grow her business, Economic Change, while having a family. And she realized that, hey, this is an opportunity for other mums. Other mums could use these skills to get involved, because she also knew, as you know, the founder and manager of a Salesforce business that she needed more people with those skills, and hence Salesforce Supermums was born. So we do still work very closely with economic change to source those work experience placements, and you'll be working with an economic change consultant on the implementation of a Salesforce instance for a nonprofit. That's usually what happens, and that's how we link in with economic change, in case any of you were wondering what we were talking about there. So I guess, have you got, Permjit, top tips? Okay, so for people about to take the course, who are signed up to the course and are going to do the course and the certification, do the exam, have you got any kind of top tips you'd give people?
So sorry, for people who are about to join the course, or?
Yeah, so let's assume people are on the course, they're sold, so they're just about to start their course. What are your top tips for them?
So they're on the course, right? Your trailheads. Just do your trailheads. That's your foundation. And within the trailhead, you've got resources built in. It all depends whether you're going to do the exams. The Salesforce Supermums course is pretty much the syllabus of the admin exam, the certification, that entry-level exam. And so make sure you're doing your trailheads and all the hands-on tasks, the challenges that you're doing. Do some super badges as well. You have to do a number of badges to unlock the super badges. Also, I mean, it's probably a bit early at the beginning, but later on when you're ready to do the exam, there's, use all the resources that are available to you there, which is, we used, when I was preparing for my exam, a website called Focus on Force.
I use that as well, yeah.
Yeah, so there's loads of, as well, in addition to all the, I mean, you get plenty to do on the Salesforce Supermums course anyway. And just do all the trailers and the challenges, and that's a fantastic board to spring from, really, with your learning.
Yeah. And do use this, I think as well, what you were starting to mention there, use the tools available to you. So, when you become part of the course, there's a chatter group for people in your course where you can speak to other people on the course. And I know when I was on the course, quite often we could help each other out actually by talking through things, which was really nice. Then we've also got like the Facebook group where you can post questions and see how people are getting on as well. So using, again, those social tools to reach out. One thing I did on the course as well is once we'd actually all finished our work experience and that sort of thing, we had a study day and like a study group where a few of us got together. It was kind of set up by Supermums, but it was a peer learning session on preparing for topics for the exam, things we wanted to cover over extra. So we do sort out things like that as well to help you prepare for that exam.
So yes, I think, I don't know if you're still running them, but Deborah Carlisle was facilitating various evening sessions as well. So that all helps. And I mean, there is a lot to do in the course, in the homework as well as the trailers. You give videos to watch. And not all of it relates to Salesforce. I don't know if you're still doing the business analysis aspect of it as well.
Yeah.
GDPR. We did actually a little bit of the project management. So it pretty much prepares you for not only the exam, but the role of the
job as well. Yeah, I think that's an important thing. That's an important part of the course as well. Yeah, it's not just those technical skills, but also all the other skills that go with that to make you successful in the role is what we really try to offer. Okay, it's 1:30 already, so we do need to wrap up. So I think I've got a couple more things to say just to introduce people to the course and what to do next if they're interested. But just finally from you, have any final words of advice or words of wisdom you'd like to offer people who are just thinking about signing up that aren't sure? Like, what would you say to them?
First of all, I'd say just go for it. Whether you decide to take a career to pursue after you've done the course in Salesforce or not, you still have gained some valuable transferable skills that you need in this 21st century data-driven workplace. Also, it's fun. You join a community that's fun, the world tours, the events that are laid on. It's a friendly, fun, and as I said before, there's always someone available to help and to advise you within all the various community groups. And finally, if you're worried about the financial commitment, there's no need, you'll get that back in your first month's salary. You know, you're
Yeah.
in the Salesforce admin. It's as I said, you just gain so many valuable transferable skills, and the project experience will prove that you can apply the knowledge that you've learnt during that course.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Permjit. I just want to follow up now. So if you are thinking about doing the course, our next course does start in November. We then have dates that's starting in February, May and September. So we run the administrator course 4 times a year. That's sponsored by, we've got some great sponsors coming on board. Our admin course is sponsored by St James's Place Wealth Management. We've also got some other great businesses coming on board at the moment who, you know, some of the big names like Deloitte and Accenture, who are supporting the growth of our courses. So we've got a Platform Developer 1, Marketing Cloud, and also a consultancy course coming over the next 12 months. So that's what we were talking about. If you do want to continue your Salesforce career after admin, we're going to have some opportunities to do that with Supermums as well. But the admin course is about 6 months, includes the online learning, webinars, mentorship, and work experience. It does cost £1,500 plus VAT, but as Permjit said, it's a really good return on investment, and we've got a really great number of mums getting into work very shortly afterwards into those Salesforce roles. So,
Abigail,
yeah,
one thing, just one big tip is,
go for it.
If you're having doubts, go to a Salesforce event, a community event, sign up to something, and you can normally do that once you've got your Trailhead account, log in, and just go and talk to people. And that's what I did before I actually made my decision. I actually went to the London Women in Tech event, and I went to an Amazon event. It was actually on International Women's Day. It was a tech event, but not Salesforce. I spoke to people about Salesforce there who weren't in the sales community, and I heard nothing but positivity, and that was what made me decide.
That's a really good point. If you want to investigate further, get onto Trailhead, trailhead.com, get on there and get signed up, get yourself an account, just have a look around, find out about some of these events. We often post about them in our social as well, so follow us on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. Hopefully you can see the details on screen now. If you want to talk to me directly about your particular situation, you can book in a call with me and we can have a chat. The link is on screen there, but actually you'll also receive all those details in an email after this webinar as well. That's all for today. Thank you so much for your time, Permjit. We'll let you get back to the rest of your day now. And yeah, thank you everyone for joining us. Bye now. Bye.
Bye.